Hey, 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 hey. Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to the Scottie Show. Tonight, I got a very special guest, Heika Dog. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm chilling. I was really nervous for this interview because I actually have another one lined up at some point.
Yeah,
Um, but I'm good. I'm chilling, you know.
yeah,
I just recently dropped an album like last month.
hell yeah. Um, so like, when did you start getting into music? And then also, I want to get into this is gonna be a two-part question. So, when did you start getting into music? And then, how did you
Mhm.
pick the name Heika Dog?
So it's really interesting. The first part is kind of abnormal when it comes to like music people.
Mm-hmm.
Most people I know who are into music are like they've been in it for their entire like life,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, but I started in 2020 when lockdown was about to like just about to start. Um, I was in my high school TV production class, and I was actually working in Premiere Pro. Um, and I had hit a wall in that class with my video editing, sort of. Like I knew pretty much every like keybind. I was the nerd of the class, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I was like, what if I just started pivoting to audio? And then I just
Yeah.
started doing a lot of audio work
Mm.
when it came to Premiere, like in my class. And it just kind of spiraled into me doing remixes and mashups in there.
Mm.
Um, and you don't like, there are a lot of producers I know personally that, started doing music in Sony Vegas, which is another video editing program. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but but not a lot of people that I know did Premiere. Like I
Yeah.
did Premiere and Vegas, which was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Before actually going to Ableton, and as a result of that, I feel like I learned music sort of conceptually instead
Mm.
of just like the theory or like reading it off of a sheet.
Mm.
Um, I play a lot of stuff by ear and just by thinking about it rather than um, just writing it down or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, as for your second part, like how I chose the name Hike Dog, it
Yeah.
actually like goes back to a group of friends that I had in middle school. Um, there were a bunch of people who had usernames online that were like Japanese honorifics, and it was like their species. So
Yeah.
originally, I was Husky Haika.
Oh,
Um, and Haika in Japanese actually translates to majesty.
okay, okay.
Um, so it was kind of an alliteration for a good few years, and then I switched it to Haika Dog, and then it just kind of stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a really weird thing to have people call me Haika or just like Haika Dog, but like it was initially weird, but now it's totally fine. Like it's almost like a second identity for me, I think.
Yeah, I feel like in music, everyone has, or just entertainment or whatever in general, we all have like these, or when we just ever hang out with like our friends, like we have like these second identities, third identities. Like you don't act like how you are with your friends when you're with your family. You when you're
Yeah.
making music, you have a different aura around yourself when you're making music, being creative than when you're with your friends. And like when you have like your online persona, it's like different, from, and it's kind of like, have you ever heard of the video game persona?
I've heard of it. I haven't played it myself, but I've seen
Okay,
people play
so
it.
like in the video game persona, like I just got hip to persona, so I'm playing Persona 5. And so in the game, like you tap on like the phone and like you go into like this other world, and it's like the persona of this person, of how they view themselves on the inside. and
Yeah.
you have to destroy the persona of that person, like in the game. And like it's kind of like, you know, how real life is, like how people view themselves in like in their head, or like when they're like doing different things. It's like you view yourself, you know, differently. And then like when you're with, like I said, like when you're with like your family, it's not like how you are with your friends. It's never going to be like the same. So I definitely
Yeah.
like understand that it's 100% like valid. And some people try to act like it's not real, like, oh, I'm 100% like this is me all the time, you know, like this is how I am every time. I'm like, oh, are you really like that? I don't think you're like that with your family, because I don't think I like, because sometimes like people's family doesn't like really like approve of like the things they do, you know, outside of
Yeah.
what how they act with like their family, you know, like
Yeah.
it's yeah, like so I 100% understand, you know, like where you're coming from. Even like with me, like Scottie isn't my actual name, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Scottie was a name that was like, you know, given to me by my friends, like it was just like a nickname. And like and you know, you just take that on, you know, that's a name given to you by, you know, like how you have Heika Dog, how you came up with that, like with your friend group and everything. Like you earn, you kind of like earn like a nickname, you know. You don't just, you can bestow a nickname upon yourself, but usually most of the time you like earn that nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like in a way it kind of, I'm more comfortable presenting myself online and just in general in this sort of
Hmm.
fashion. Like even with the dog avatar I have going on right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um it's just super sick to kind of be so open about like a way that I am inside, you know, like one of the ways that kind of I feel like defines me.
Yeah, it
Um
makes you feel comfortable. Like
yeah.
it gives you that confidence and like that power, you know, that like you, because people need like certain things to like, you know, like when you feel like when I like do stand-up comedy, I feel super nervous. I have like this, like these nerves, like where like sometimes like when I used to like book shows, I would get so nervous, like it would be like 3 days or like a week ahead, and I would like come up with so many different excuses to like cancel the show, or
Oh
like,
yeah.
hey, I'm not feeling good, like I like
Yeah, I've been
and like
there.
the anxiety would make me like not want to like show up. But then I'm just like, yo, like I gotta like, you know, put on this like persona. I gotta like figure out how I can make another character that's stronger than the person that I am, so I can, you know,
Yeah.
face these like fears that like I'm having. and
Yeah.
and and a lot of people, they don't want to like talk about that. They don't want to admit that they're like that they're scared, like deep down inside. They don't want to admit that like they have like these fears. And I feel like one of the main ways of like, you know, building up like your courage and building up like you know, like your self-esteem is, you know, creating you know, the persona that you want of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just like how we have like all these great like conquerors like King Arthur, and like a lot of other like different like, you know, like conquerors and stuff like that. They had to create like a persona in order to like face these, like, oh, I'm going to battle, I have a sword in hand. Like that's why they would have like Alexander the Great. Like that wasn't like that person's name. Like the
Yeah.
great wasn't in his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of ties into a lot of what I did with my most recent album, Songs for Dogs to Sleep To.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Talk about it.
yeah, yeah. So it actually it's really funny how enthusiastically I'm talking about it now. Because Songs for Dogs, like it was literally over like the past few months, I was just feeling like really down
Mm,
over some stuff that was going on in my life. Like my grandma passed,
mm,
um, and I just recently lost a lot of friends over some BS.
yeah,
Um, and it was really difficult. And I feel like music in a way was sort of my catharsis, you know.
yeah.
Um, and it like really surprised me how many people have reacted so positively to the music. Like I've
Mm,
never really had a lot of people directly show out about my music like that before.
mm,
um you know, and a
yeah.
lot of it was like And a lot of it was literally just me essentially just freestyling on a MIDI keyboard, you know.
Yeah.
Um, even with the first track on the album, for Forever Yet Not Enough, I do remember that like I was literally just playing around with a pad in the VST Gladiator, um, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds so good. So
Mm-hmm.
I just started developing an entire track around it, um, and it ended up being really really good, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah.
Oh yeah, man, that's lit as hell, man. And like, and it's just like, especially when you have, I feel like the music, and I hate to say it, but like the music sounds so much better when you know that the artist, or like even like yourself, when you know that you're like going through a bunch of shit and like it's like really like tough, you know the music is gonna sound good because
Oh
like
yeah.
there's so much real raw emotion. Like music literally only sounds good. Like to me, my perspective, music sounds like even better when there's actual real raw emotion, like in it, because you actually went through shit and you're
Yeah.
trying to like make an exit path, and you're using your talent, your
Yeah.
creative mind to figure out, how do I want to make this into like a symphony? How do I want to make this digestible to people so they can relate to it and like feel something from it, so they can like feel it in their heart and like their soul, and they gravitate towards it. And like that is like where I feel like the best music is like made, when people are like
Yeah.
going through things. And it's kind of sad to say, but like that's what blues and like jazz and like rap and like all that stuff like kind of like originated, is actually going through like something and then like them expressing it on a track. And then that's why people mainly gravitate towards it. And then like I would say like now, like which I hate to say, but like we have like this big resurgence with SoundCloud, but like SoundCloud was like dying because it was being drowned out by a lot of music that didn't have a lot of like real raw emotion in it.
Yeah. I'm actually curious. It's okay if you haven't listened yet. Because it's a lot to digest.
Mm-hmm.
But what's your favorite off the album if you had to pick one?
I actually haven't listened yet, but if you want to send me it, I will definitely give
Yeah,
it a
yeah.
listen. Yeah, I definitely want to give it a listen. I got really hip to you through Young Skirt. Like,
Oh, crazy.
yeah, that's how I got familiar like with like your sound and everything. And I was just like, oh, his name's Heika Dog, like. Cause like when I interviewed Young Skirt, and then like I started going down this rabbit hole of people that Young Skirt has like collabed with, and like I seen that he collabed with you and like a bunch of other different artists. And like you stood out because of like the Heika Dog thing, and like the way some of your sounds were. And I was like, oh, this motherfucker like looks interesting, sounds interesting, and like let me see what he's about. And like there's so much, and like I apologize for not listening to your project yet. There's
Oh
just
yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
No, it's no
There's so
problem.
much like, yeah, there's hella new music that I have to like, I'm catching up on, and like having to like deal with like real life and dealing with like fucking having to like get other like friends' music that I'm like that I gotta listen to and stuff like that. So I'm definitely gonna check your shit out.
Yeah, I just
As
sent it in
soon as
the
I
chat.
can. All right,
Yeah.
bet. What who are some of like your inspirations when it comes to like music?
Well, this year I apparently listened to my own song with Skirt enough times for it to be at the top of my Spotify Wrapped.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I would definitely say Skirt is like one of my big ones recently. Anyway, um,
Mm-hmm.
I think also Yeat's drum patterns are really
Mm.
interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just in general, a lot of the newer sound, you know.
Yeah.
Um, even like way back to like 2011 when I was just a kid. I grew up listening to a lot of the really synth heavy Drake cuts and like The
Mm.
Weeknd. Um,
What bands you listen to? Because I fuck with bands. I like
oh
Stain.
man,
I like Linkin Park. I like there's this um, fuck.
bands. I'm gonna be so disappointing to you. I don't
All right,
really
go
listen to
ahead.
bands like that.
Okay,
I
okay.
do not
Who you
listen
listen?
listen
Or
bands.
who? who were you listening to like growing up as a kid? Like what were you listening to growing up?
Honestly, a lot of Drake. I was listening to a
Oh,
lot of
Drake.
Drake.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, a lot of the early Drake. Like I was there when Nothing Was the Same came out. I was there
Mm.
when fucking If You're Reading This, like one of my
Yeah,
all-time
yeah.
favorite projects by him. Absolutely, absolutely nutty. Uh a lot of Billie Eilish's sound too, like Billie
Billie
Eilish and
Eilish is
Phineas.
dope. I'm not even gonna lie.
Crazy.
I used to hate on her. I
Yeah.
used to hate on her so much. But then like I downloaded a playlist on Apple Music. It's called like Winter Chill. And like Billie Eilish came on and I didn't know it was Billie Eilish. And I was like, yo, this actually sounds pretty good. And I looked at the artist and I was like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I was hating on this motherfucker for a minute. I was like, damn, I actually like
Yeah.
this shit. But like Billie Eilish is definitely dope. I'm not even gonna lie.
I think also the general group of people that Skirt is around when it comes to like Twitch streamers are
Mm-hmm.
really interesting to me. So like people that make music and also stream on Twitch.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
this really dope person. I don't know if Skirt brought them up in his interview, but Melancholy.
I know I've
Um,
heard of the name though. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen the name like float around.
Literally,
Yeah.
yeah, literally every single time that I go into their Twitch stream, without fail, they're working on something that is absolutely amazing to me. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
the hardest beat you've ever heard in your life, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Um, it's super cool. It's they actually are the reason why I started using Gladiator
Mm.
a lot of the time.
So
And
like
that was actually how indirectly how By a Vowel sort of came together was because of me being put onto that VSD, you know.
mm, yeah, yeah. So there's like a bunch of different like audio like editing tools and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
like so like there's like Ableton, you got Fruity Loops and stuff like is Fruity Loops out of the game? If people not like I'm not an audio engineer, like I don't know how to like edit vocals and stuff like that and do like the do all that kind of shit. Like is Fruity Loops out of the game? I don't hear nobody talking about Fruity Loops no more.
So about that, Melancholy actually uses Fruity Loops.
Ah
Um,
shit, so it's not out of the game. I literally
yeah,
hear
it's
nobody
not
talking
out of
about
the
Fruity Loops.
game. A lot of tutorials I'll see on YouTube about music are in Fruity Loops. Like it's not just Ableton. Like it's either Fruity Loops or Ableton,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much. Like is 90% of the YouTube tutorial landscape.
Okay, okay.
Um,
I
I
just hear people just say
personally,
Ableton's the best.
yeah,
That's what people
I
usually.
personally like Fruity Loops seems like an interface that I'm not personally down with, but I fuck with people. A lot of producers that I know use Fruity Loops, and they
Yeah,
make some of the hardest shit that I've ever heard. So
yeah, yeah,
it really is not about it really is not about the DAW. There's certain things with like FL Studio 11 and like 20, how people are like, oh, it's better in 11, and then FL actually put out a video that was like you can use the same template from FL Studio 11 in FL Studio 21 or 20 or whatever, uh,
mm,
and that pretty much like deaded the whole argument. And
yeah, yeah,
it's just interesting in like seeing the sort of like discourse, the infighting in like
yeah.
FL users.
Mm-hmm.
I've never even like touched FL personally because like it's just the YouTube tutorials kind of scare me with like channel mixing and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, like because
But yeah,
I was like when I first started like making music myself, like when I would say sophomore year when I started sophomore year of high school, I started recording music. I was using GarageBand and then like I use FL
yeah,
Studios because people were giving out like the free FL Studio like link where you can download it for free.
yeah,
And
yeah.
back then I feel like the interfaces were so much more easier to use. And then like I downloaded it like I think like last year and I was just like looking at it and I was just like, yo, this does not look the same. I'm like, I don't think like I get like intimidated like looking at it. And
Oh
I'm just like,
yeah.
yeah, I was just like, yo, I can't do this shit no more. I was
Yeah,
like, I
I get
can't.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely get it.
Yeah.
I feel like people who are really adept at like computer shit, just like
Hmm.
picking up on programs really easily, like I have,
Yeah.
um, are also very probably very good at music if they want to do music, you know.
Hmm.
And I'm not just talking about myself, but
Yeah.
I grew up as like the weird nerd, like computer whiz kid that like every time I'm in a room, somebody will like ask me to fix the projector, or, like the computer or something when it needs a
Hmm.
restart. Um, and I realized that like I'm I'm in a position where I'm just learning a lot about, for example, like Ableton
Yeah.
really quickly compared to a lot of
I
other people, you
Yeah, I
know?
hear Ableton is easier to use than FL Studio. Like, cause I got homies that just use Ableton, and like they
Yeah.
used to use FL Studios, but then when I heard like FL do like an update and like people just literally got turned off from FL, and they're just like, yo, we're just gonna go to Ableton because it's the easier interface, and we're just gonna use that because it's more like it's more user
Yeah.
friendly. I hear that it's just more user friendly.
I think it just kind of depends. Like I personally don't want to use FL, but like different strokes for different folks, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
it's just a different thing that I personally will not use.
Yeah.
But I respect people, a lot of people who like jump between different DAWs, even like, and I know people who because of Skirt, like they use the Reason Rack plugin, for
Mm,
instance. Uh, like it's a bunch of different stuff with a bunch of different DAWs. Like I hear that like Soldier Boy's Cranked At was literally just made using FL stock sounds. So
that's crazy.
yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. How do you feel about, like the Twitch streamer slash like being like a producer, rapper, streaming it live? I feel like this is like a new wave and like a new like
Oh
out
yeah.
this new avenue for people that want to get into like producing and making music. And honestly, I feel like it's more profitable as well. If
Yeah.
especially if you're new in it and like you want to gain like a fan base, you want to work with new. I feel like I feel like it's a really healthy community because I've hopped into Bobby Raps and Young Skirts like streams, and like I see like such positive
Yeah.
comments, and like I feel like it creates like a really healthy supportive like community for artists.
I think that a lot of the Twitch music production landscape is really beneficial to everyone involved, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um
I
I
recommend
yeah.
anyone that's an artist or a producer to get involved in it and support people like you, Young Skirt, Bobby Raps. It's definitely like supportive, and it's gonna like it's gonna help people that are on a lower, not like a little baby or like a Drake or like mid tier. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
help like those lower tier artists grow into bigger artists, and they're gonna build. It's gonna help everybody in the long run. Like it's like a one. It's like a if one wins, we all win kind of like thing.
Yeah, I literally like I don't even know if Skirt knows this, but I like all my beats recently have just been his arrangement style, like every single one.
Mm,
Because I just found out that it works, you
yeah,
know. Um, and in general, I feel like being very open about your process is really good.
it gives you the
Um,
game.
yeah,
You're giving you don't
it
want to hide anything. You want everyone to win. That's why.
there are people that have definite reason to hide shit, like knowledge, for instance. I don't know if you fuck
Mm,
with knowledge, but knowledge like does not show the screen when he makes beats.
mm,
Um, but there's other people that like Skirt, like Melancholy, that are just completely open
open.
to showing their process,
Mm,
and I feel like that's dope too. You
yeah.
know, um, a lot of my sound has come from people on YouTube, on Twitch that have just like made a beat start to finish, or they're talking about something really specific, like hi-hat patterns or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like I feel like that's even if you don't make any money off of it, I feel like tutorials are really good to either watch or make even.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just Twitch streaming in general, just making your process open to the world. Like I don't normally Twitch stream, but what I do is like I stream pretty much every single Ableton session that I do,
Mm-hmm.
even the album cuts, to a Discord server that I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
like pretty much any Discord server that I'm close with the people in it.
Yeah, yeah. I,
Um, yeah,
I was gonna also ask you, like, how do you feel about, because like now you can just play the piano on your keyboard. You don't actually
yeah.
have to grab a piano and play it. Do you think that kind of takes away from like the realness of it, or do you think it's just like a new way of just creating? Like how
I've
do you
done
feel about you?
both.
Yeah, you okay. Oh, so you do both? All right, you
So
legit then. You
yeah,
legit. You
yeah,
legit. I'm
I've
like,
done both.
okay, you legit.
I don't personally play piano directly. Like if you put me in front of a grand piano, I'll see all the octaves and get a little frightened. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but no, I made the freaking melody for Vowel like off of an Ableton arpeggiator MIDI effect, and I was just playing notes that were in key.
Mm,
And then all my newest shit is like my Akai MBK Mini. Like I have it right here next to me, and I can just turn at my desk. And it's really nice. It is really nice to play both, but I will say that when you are playing on a computer keyboard, you're missing the velocity if that's like really important to you.
mm,
But with Ableton and FL, you can actually randomize the velocity of your notes by a certain amount. So if
mm,
you really want to have a certain groove to it based on the volume, then you can do that instead.
mm.
Um, that's really the only downside that I see to a computer keyboard. But it's really dope either way. I think that like I think that either way that I make music, I come up with riffs that I wouldn't have come up otherwise on the other method of playing.
Yeah, that's facts.
Um,
That's super facts.
yeah,
Yeah, like because I know some people think that it's like, oh, it's taken away from like the art. Because like I see like arguments about it, like I see both sides, but then I'm just like, yo, just let people like create and do like their thing. Because like,
Skirt does pretty much all his production on a regular computer keyboard. Like
and he could
he
play the
used to
piano so
yeah,
beautifully with a keyboard. That's just crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
yeah,
nuts.
yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's crazy as
Like
hell.
you can there's certain clips of him online that's like him switching between different octaves with one hand and playing a riff with the other, and it's
Yeah,
nuts. Absolutely nuts. And I'm just
yeah.
like, wow, that's like
Yo,
like
like
I'm a
I
little
would have thought
starstruck.
that, yeah, like I would have like thought that he had like the way he be playing it with the keyboard. I would have thought that he had an actual piano in front of him and he was just playing it. Like that's how
Oh,
like good he
literally.
sounds like with it. I'm like, yo, this sounds crazy. Like
Yeah.
I never seen nothing like it. Like how people can like just do
Actually,
that.
yeah, actually the most recent beat they did with me, I sent in stems for a loop that I called Fallen Angel, for Skirt Scriber Saturday.
Mm,
Uh, and there was some beautiful piano that he just laid on top of it like it was nothing. I already put like some really basic piano on there, but he just kind of added to it, and
yeah,
it was so good. It's so good. I gotta send you that beat.
hell yeah.
It's
I,
so good. Yeah,
another thing that I would say about like the producer slash like Twitch streamer kind of thing, it makes it super honest because
yeah,
when like like let's just say like you send something to somebody like on Twitter or whatever, like, yo, you want to collab on a beat? And that person will say, yeah, but then like they'll like hold off on it for like a fucking month, a year. Like with the
Mm-hmm.
actual like with it being live, if that person sending the beat in, it makes them honest and it keeps them honest. Like, yo, I'm gonna collab on this beat, we're gonna work on it together. Like I'm gonna lay
Yeah,
my thing
literally.
down and like it keeps it pure. Like it has like it's like a certain like you feel like you're in the studio with that person, and like y'all both are like working on it together. I just love like the purity of it, and it keeps everyone honest. And I feel like that's how
Yeah.
I feel like that's how collabs should be ran. If y'all can't be in the same studio together, y'all should at least have like a camera set up or something where y'all both can like talk to each
Yeah, I
other or
know.
have some kind of live
Yeah.
stream. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I know someone actually, and I've done this myself a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
This person Samuel, great dude.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that actually like we have played along to Twitch streamers. Like I have a bunch of different project files on my hard drive that are just labeled Skirt Improv.
Mm.
And basically while Skirt streaming, there will be a moment where I'm just like, okay, this needs like a pad or something like that. Like I really want to add a pad to this. So
Mm.
I just set my project to the same tempo and I start playing in the same key, and
Mm.
it like really, that's one of the ways that I get my drive going.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that I know that are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like the producer Ain't It Marty. Like we have a whole EP out on streaming called White Noise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the homie Eyesore from South Africa.
Oh yeah, that's lit.
Yeah, uh, yeah, they're really dope. They're a lot better at music than me. Like I like to joke that I'm better than them, but they're really better at music than me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
they actually lent along with another person, Axel Vay.
Mm.
They lent jazz production to my Ornar remix that I did for Skirt.
Yeah, I seen that. That was
Yeah.
crazy. That was crazy. I seen that one. Yeah, that was crazy. That was fire. I'm not even gonna lie. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was super cool. I did the whole first half, and then the second half was all them. I was just like, hey, can I get? I asked them. I was like, hey, can I get something in this key in this tempo, and make it jazzy? And they did their thing. They absolutely killed it. Like all I did was add a drum fill and a crash,
Hmm.
to kind of blend it a little bit better.
Hell yeah.
Um, Went crazy. Absolutely went crazy. Like I'm really proud of that cut.
It's fire.
Yeah.
Uh, so for the people that fuck with you, that like see what you're working on and everything like that, like what can we expect from you in the future?
Oh man. I really want to focus on making more melodies for people. Like I want to be the synth person. Um I already have a loop pack out that I'm gonna eventually put on Gumroad. Um let's see what else. What else? I'm sending around beats to people that I fuck with. So
Mm.
people like Black Winter Wells, I've sent beats to. Really dope person. Let's see what else. Jawson's really cool. I just sent like 2 drill beats over to him today.
Fire.
Super sick. If I make it on his next album, then my folks will be the first people to know. You know.
Oh yeah.
Um, I don't know. Um, what else? What else? I guess stream my album, Songs for Dogs to Sleep To,
Let's get
everywhere.
it.
Um,
Let's get it. Sounds for dogs. We running it
yeah,
up. Hell
yeah, we
yeah.
running up.
Uh,
It's just really crazy how people have been reacting so positively to an album that was And I don't know. I really hope that people fuck with the album. I don't know. That's almost it. That's almost it. I have like one more thing to say. I promise.
All right, go
Um,
ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, right now, for all the people that want to buy the album on Bandcamp, here's an exclusive deal. Um, with the coupon code 5KADOG, that's 5KADOG, you can get the album for $5.
Hey,
Yeah, that's it.
buy that album. Use the code.
Yeah, buy the shit. Yeah, use the code.
Hell yeah. Man, Heika Dog, I really appreciate you for hopping on this podcast. I know we had to reschedule it a couple times, but I'm glad that we did it.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to let it be known you really killed it. I'm glad you expressed yourself in the way that you wanted to. And like, yeah, I respect what you do. I love that, like, you want to be a part of the producer community. I'm glad that you got into it during COVID, and like, just keep on doing what you're doing. And I see you doing good things, in the music and just entertainment world just in
Thank you,
general,
thank you.
man. Yeah, man.
Thank you, thank you.
Anything you want to plug? Twitter, Instagram?
My Twitter is HKA Dogs. I can't get at Heika Dog. So I'm HKA Dogs on there. Let's see what else. What else? What else? My entire digital discography right now is $15. If you wanna fuck with me on Bandcamp. Um, I don't really have a lot in the way of solo shit uh up at the moment. I'm kind of just making beats recently.
Mm.
But eventually I do want to do another beat tape and remaster a beat tape that I produced earlier this year and put that on streaming. Um, if anybody out there knows it, it's called Specialty Endeavors. I've been teasing it for like the past few months that I want to put on streaming, but really I want to do it. You'll probably see that like next year.
Let's get it.
Um, but other than that, yeah. Uh, Also with the Bandcamp release of Specialty Endeavors, any song that I have remastered for streaming is gonna also be updated on Bandcamp as well. So
Let's
nobody's
get
left
it.
out. But yeah,
Hell yeah.
that's it.
All right, y'all. Heika Dog, the Scottie Show. Thank you for pulling up. I appreciate you, homie. Peace out.
Appreciate you too. See ya.
See you.